Hi, my name is Paul Cooper, and I'm a writer for the Suffolk Voice.
And hi, my name is Esteban Cajigas, and I'm the Arts and Entertainment Editor for the Suffolk Voice. And we're here to discuss one of the most important weeks in the entertainment industry in the entire year.
The Oscars.
So we'll begin by talking about who didn't get nominated, who was just completely ignored and snubbed from this year's ceremonies.
Well, I think for Best Actor is Robert Redford, who starred in All Is Lost. He's the only person in that film. He has a handful of lines throughout, and he basically just carries the film through pure emotion. And he didn't even get nominated.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of ambitious roles were just ignored. You also have Scarlett Johansson, who played the voice in Her, which was, it was, again, very ambitious. She wasn't there in the entire film in terms of what was being filmed and what was shown to the audience, yet she captured that perfectly, and she's just completely ignored and shut out, as was Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, I think if Scarlett Johansson had been there in some physical form, like her face was on the computer screen or something, she might have got a nomination. But because it was just her voice, it wasn't a right fit for the Academy.
I don't know, it just seems like it's from the future.
Yeah.
What else do you think got snubbed this year?
Well, like you said, Inside Llewyn Davis pretty much got shut out of all the main Oscars, which is surprising because it's a more recent film, as opposed to films like Rush or Prisoners, which came out earlier in the year and can be easily forgotten.
Yeah, I mean, and the Coen brothers aren't just, new filmmakers. They're very well established. But, it's interesting that movie is very recent as opposed to other movies that got snubbed, like Rush and movies that came out earlier, like Prisoner. What do you think about Rush?
I liked it. I thought it was really good. I think Daniel Bruhl should have got some Best Supporting Actor, but like I said, just because it came out earlier.
I mean, I'm a lifelong Formula One fan, and that movie really did the sport justice. I was really surprised that, that was... And that's Ron Howard. That's also another established filmmaker just completely ignored.
Yeah, another big snub is Blackfish, the documentary that everyone was talking about. It didn't get nominated for Best Documentary, and that was a big surprise to everyone, I think.
No, yeah, I was completely surprised that wasn't on it. Now, in terms of, the biggest award, Best Picture of the night, who do you think is going to win?
Well, it's tough. This year, it's a really close race. It's tied, I think, between 12 Years a Slave and Gravity, with 12 Years a Slave maybe edging it out a little bit. And, of course, American Hustle did win a lot of big awards, so it is the spoiler, I guess, of this year.
What do you make of Wolf of Wall Street making on that list? It hasn't been received very well by critics.
It's been very polarizing. So clearly, enough of the Academy liked it to nominate it, but it is a very polarizing film. I don't think it has a chance to win Best Picture, unfortunately.
So, what's your official pick?
My official pick would be 12 Years a Slave.
I think so too. After it won the Golden Globe for Best Picture, I think it gave it the momentum it needed to pull away from the rest of the movies.
Definitely.
Now, Best Actor in Leading Role. We already talked about how Joaquin Phoenix was completely snubbed for this. I think Matthew McConaughey is going to win this just because he has the momentum from the Golden Globes and he put the performance of a lifetime for this movie.
Absolutely.
Do you see anybody else, snatching it from him in the last minute?
Yeah, I think Matthew McConaughey definitely has it dead set for Best Actor. I think that, like you said, Joaquin Phoenix definitely got snubbed this year. And as much as I loved American Hustle, I think you could swap out Christian Bale's with Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, I think this is one of the most set categories. Unfortunately for Leonardo DiCaprio, I don't think this will be his year.
Not this year. It's too tough a competition.
Right. I mean, I think you also have somebody else pulling away in Best Actress in a Leading Role with Cate Blanchett from Blue Jasmine. That role was just flawless all the way around.
She's won pretty much every award she's been nominated for. I think, again, it's a dead set for her to win. Personally, I think Judi Dench was fantastic in Philomena, and I would really love to see her win it, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, the only thing I can think that could hurt her is, Woody Allen's scandal that came out in the New York Times where he was, the accusations of his, of the incident 20 years ago where he allegedly took advantage of his stepdaughter might hurt Cate Blanchett. Do you think that's the case?
It's possible. I think because she has the momentum that it's just going to kind of push forward with that.
Well, how do you feel about Best Actor in a Supporting Role? You have people like Jonah Hill who have, came from nowhere and have now established themselves as such unique actors. And then you also have Jared Leto, who also came out and put this performance for Dallas Buyers Club. Who do you think is going to win for Best Actor in a Supporting Role?
I think it's going to be Jared Leto because he came out and was more surprising. He basically floored everyone, as opposed to Jonah Hill, who's been kind of progressing into more serious roles.
You know, Jonah Hill's transformation from comedy into serious acting kind of reminds me of Woody Allen's career a little bit, you know, where you have them starting with really just pure comedy and then making their way into that. How do you see Jonah Hill in the future? Do you see him doing more of these movies like Moneyball, or do you see him going back to comedy?
I think definitely, yeah, because he did get an Oscar nomination for Moneyball, and now he has one for Wolf of Wall Street. So I think he's going to try to gear himself more towards these types of films.
Now, for Best Actress in a Supporting Role, who do you think is going to win that one? I personally think it's me, Lupita Nyong'o for 12 Years a Slave.
Yeah, I think she has that one too. Of course, Jennifer Lawrence is America's sweetheart right now, and the Academy loves her, and so she's definitely a spoiler, I guess, for that.
I'm going to say this right now. I don't think American Hustle is going to win any Oscars, even though they're nominated for so many.
They have a lot of nominations. I think they have to win some.
I don't know. I'm going to... That's my prediction. My bold prediction is that American Hustle is going to go 0.
Well, we'll see about that.
For Best Animated Picture, who do you have? You have The Croods, Despicable Me 2, Ernest and Celestine, Frozen, and The Wind Rises.
Well, everyone talks about Frozen. Everyone loved Frozen, and Idina Menzel is going to be performing "Let It Go" at the Oscars, so I think it's going to be Frozen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's one of the locked ones as well, you can say. For cinematography, you had one of the most ambitious movies in recent memory with Gravity. Those long shots, like the opening scene, where everything is captured in the cinematography. Do you really see the Grand Master or Ensign Llewyn-Davis from Nebraska coming close to Gravity in this?
Well, Gravity does have that wow factor of these long shots, and it was a lot like Children of Men, which was also directed by Alfonso Cuarón. And I think that it is pretty dead set. But, however, Prisoners was a beautiful looking film, and Roger Deakins really, really deserves that.
Yeah. My only concern with Prisoners is, as we said, it just has no momentum.
Yeah.
No one is really talking about that movie. No one's really mentioning it in any way. So, yeah, I could see Prisoners, in a neutral way, being a big movie, but just doesn't stand up to Gravity. For costume design, I'm going to say The Great Gatsby. That 1920s look with the way that, they stylized it, I think is going to win. What do you think? What do you think about American Hustle being in that category?
My pick is definitely American Hustle because it captured the period so well, and Great Gatsby wasn't as well received, and a lot of people don't necessarily like Baz Luhrmann's stylized look and would have liked something more conservative when it comes to The Great Gatsby.
I really think The Great Gatsby is going to take it away. I think 12 Years a Slave could have made a run for this, but it's too subtle. It's just not...
Yeah.
Like, for the voters, it's just not going to do it. I think it's going to be more stylized like American Hustle or Great Gatsby. For Best Directing, usually this goes along with Best Picture, but last year it didn't. What do you think is going to happen this year?
I think Alfonso Cuarón is definitely going to get it for Gravity, just because the film was such a technical marvel. And last year did set a precedent for Best Picture not going in hand with Best Directing.
Do you think that'll become a thing? Do you think that'll become a norm?
It might be. It might be.
I don't know. I kind of feel like these 2 years are just outliers. I mean, last year you had... Affleck completely snubbed. So I don't know. I think next year you could see them together. But in this year, I would agree. I think Gravity is going to take Best Directing and not Best Picture. Although I just don't like the fact that Wolf of Wall Street is on here. I think Martin Scorsese was kind of overrated with this one.
Definitely. Wolf of Wall Street was not for everybody. It was very polarizing, like I said. Personally, I wasn't a big fan of it, and I think he's done much better.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Blue Jasmine... the way Blue Jasmine captured San Francisco, I should have been on here for me at least, instead of Wolf of Wall Street. Now, for Best Original Score, it's very interesting. You have movies where they really depended on the score, movies like Gravity and Her. What do you think is going to happen this year?
So I think for Best Score, Gravity and Her are kind of neck and neck. Her had a more subtle score, but Gravity was more in your face, both equally good.
Yeah, no, I think it's a toss-up. That's probably one of the closest ones in my opinion. Although, I feel like Gravity has just a little bit more momentum just because they're doing so well in the other categories. Now, for Best Adapted Screenplay, you have Before Midnight, which has a huge following. Captain Phillips, The Wolf of Wall Street, once again, coming from the book, what do you think is going to happen there? I personally think 12 Years a Slave is going to carry the momentum from the other categories.
Definitely. I do think 12 Years a Slave has it because it's front runner for Best Picture.
Right. Yeah, at the beginning of the award season, I thought this would be a closer category, but now it seems like 12 Years a Slave is pulling away. Now, for the last category we're going to talk about today, which is Best Original Screenplay, what do you think is... We had some original movies here between Blue Jasmine, Dallas Buyers Club, Her, and Nebraska. I'm obviously ignoring American Hustle because I didn't like the movie, but what do you think about those other movies? Or do you think American Hustle can make a pick for this?
I think it's a toss-up between American Hustle and Her. American Hustle is definitely still in there. It has a lot of nominations, so it does have that momentum. But Her also was very original, so I think it does have a shot.
I thought, Blue Jasmine by Woody Allen would have a big shot, but I really think this is where that scandal is going to really hurt him. My pick for this would be Her, just because, as you said, it's the most, in my opinion, it was the most original movie this year in terms of what it was about and the subject matter and everything. So, I think Her is going to get that locked down, but I kind of wish Blue Jasmine would win, just because I think it'll be marred by what happened to Woody, and that shouldn't really affect the decision for this Oscar. Now, do you have anything else important pertaining to the Oscars that you think we should talk about?
Well, Ellen DeGeneres is back to host this year, and she was a favorite back in 2007, so I think it'll be good because hosts over the past couple of years have been kind of lackluster.
Yeah, I think she's the charisma needed for the role. She's done it before, and as you said, she's very popular, so I'm sure she'll do well again. Well, there you have it. That's all our analysis for the Oscars. Be sure to check out more content at suffolkvoice.net. We have plenty of information there. Thank you, and see you next time.
Thanks for watching.